you just close it for a moment. Most of the time today you're going to be doing stuff, but I just want to go through the agenda and make sure that you understand what we're doing and, more importantly, why we're doing it. All right. So first, quick announcements. It's going to be wet this week, and we are going to be going outside, so be prepared for that. What you'll do tomorrow for sure, you're going to go outside. We're going to dig up the stuff that you buried, bring it back to the classroom so that we can collect our final bit of data related to the decomposition study. And so that is going to be wet and potentially muddy, so just make sure that you're fully aware of that. That means those of you who have really nice shoes should bring something else or not wear them that day, because I hate to see, I know for some of you, your shoes, it's really important that your shoes stay clean. They won't if you don't have something else to wear. And then just a heads up about next week. So there's a couple of things going on. First, it's a weird week because Tuesday is a holiday, so we'll have Tuesday off. Monday will be an odd day instead of an all day, and I'm not going to be here on Monday. And so you will be here just like Monday is going to be just like a Tuesday normally would be. And then Tuesday, no school. Wednesday, I wouldn't see you anyway. And then Thursday, we're going to have a test. And the test is going to be over soils. We're going to do some work in preparation for that today. And then you will have time on Monday next week during the full 90-minute class to do some preparation and put together a note sheet. We'll also have time tomorrow and Thursday to do some preparation. So by the time next Thursday rolls around, you'll all be ready. Yeah.
What holiday is it?
What's that?
What holiday is it?
Oh, it's a Veterans Day.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, did you have a question? Oh, okay. And then so we'll keep hitting these things over and over because it's going to be weird. It's going to be really hard for you to remember. It's going to be weird for me too. I'm not even going to be here, and I'm still going to be like, wait, there's school today. It's just a weird week. And then so today we have two things to do. The most critical is a assignment that's been posted to Canvas. It's due today. This is one that, so we've had a couple of these so far, at least, yeah, we've had a couple of them. This is one where instead of being a 4-point formative assignment, it's 10 points. And that means not only is it worth more points, but I am evaluating it differently. On those 4-point assignments, what I'm looking for is progress. I'm looking to see, wherever you started, did you learn something by the time you completed the work? That's the goal of those 4-point assignments. This is a little bit different. This, while it's not a assessment, it's not a test, it's not a quiz, all of this stuff is stuff that we've already practiced. We've already done everything that's on here. So my expectation is that you're going to be able to get it right. And so it's not a quiz because it's open note. You can work with each other. You can talk to me. You can talk to Ms. Jackson. It's not something that you should feel any pressure about. But it's something that you should approach a little bit differently. Your approach should be, I'm going to show that I can do this stuff. And if you can't, then you're going to get help so that you learn how to do it, because largely what you're doing today is kind of a preview of the stuff that we're going to ask you to be able to do on the test next week. So I'll go through that in just a second. And then as people finish this up, so you all have done a fantastic job of cleaning. There is some stuff to put away, and so we might, if you finish up the soil data summary relatively quickly while other people are still working on it, I may ask you to help me just get some stuff cleared out of the classroom. It's not messy work and it won't take very long, but it's, again, it'll be a big help for me because there's way more of you than there are of me. And then if we have time, I want to talk at least a little bit about how we're going to go about collecting the data for the stuff that you buried in the soil, because it's not, there's a right way to do it, and we're not going to do it that way for a whole bunch of reasons that I'll explain, but there's a different way to do it that isn't ideal, but it'll actually work out, I think, pretty well, and it'll give us the information that we need, which is what's most important. Okay, so that's the quick run through. Does anybody have any brief questions about all of that? Yeah?
What's actually going to be on the test?
We'll talk about that more later. I don't want to talk about it today just because it's a short day. But as I said, this soil data summary is a preview of the kinds of things that you're going to need to be able to do. So you can think of this as a way to practice the skills that I'm going to be asking you to demonstrate on the exam next week. So for the soil data summary, what I want is for you to recap all of the information that you've gotten so far about both our soil in general here at Crescent Valley and the specific soils at your site locations. This recap should not just be a report of the information, but it should be briefly a explanation of how you got that information. So for example, you did some calculations to find the soil water holding capacity at one of your site locations. And I want to see those calculations. I want you to put the information that you did already so that you remember, oh yeah, this is what we did. It's not just that you know that the water holding capacity was 45%. I want you to remember how you found that. With the soil settling information where we had those jars and we filled them up with soil and shook them up and made those measurements, same deal. Do you remember how to make those calculations? So here's what I'm going to ask you to show me. First, and you don't, this is not something that you need a detailed explanation of, but we used a website to look up information about CV soils, and you should know at least one of the soil types that turned up in that research. And then the graduated cylinder soil settling activity, this is the thing that we did in the jars. It wasn't graduated cylinders, it was just jars, but what I want to know is what was the texture you found, and show me those calculations, because there were calculations about the percent silt, percent sand, percent clay, and you used the soil texture triangle, that pyramid that had all the different soil types on it and all the different intersections where you could identify the names of the textures. You should be able to at least remember how you used that tool to determine the soil texture. And then the soil texture procedure that you did by hand, that was the one that you did with the flow chart, and that you did for your one of your site, at least one of your site locations. So I want you to give me that information as well. For soil moisture, give me a recap of the calculations and tell me the water holding capacity at least one of your site locations. Some of you, that's all you got, and that's fine. If you only got one location, that's fine. And then we looked at soil pH and nutrients. First, what was the pH at least one of your sites? You used the pH strips to measure that. And second, what did that tell you about the availability of those three nutrients that we looked at, phosphorus, nitrogen, potassium? And then for soil organisms, we looked at soil organisms twice. Once, when we very first started looking at soils, we went out, dug some up, and I had you just look visually, what do you see? And some of you saw some bugs or earthworms or whatever, so what did you see during the soil dissection? And what did you see last week when we did the soil organism extraction? And what was the biodiversity of your soil organisms according to the calculations that you made? When you go through this, again, what I want to emphasize is this is not something where you're just giving me information. The point of this is for you to look back through everything we've done with soils and remind yourself, what did we do during the soil dissection? What did we do when we calculated soil water holding capacity? How did we make the measurements and do the calculations for the soil settling? All of those things are going to show up on the exam. You're not going to have to do the actual measurements. You're not going to have physical soil to work with. But I, for example, will give you an image that shows a jar, and it's going to have some measurements on there. And And you're gonna have to use those measurements along with a soil texture triangle to determine the name of the soil texture that's in that picture. And that's the kind of stuff that you're gonna need to be able to do. You're gonna need to be able to identify soil organisms from a picture. If I show you a picture of a nematode, or I show you a picture of a springtail, you should be able to identify it. And you should be able to use that information to talk about soils that have those organisms in them. So as you all get started on this, I'm gonna start giving you a bunch of stuff, because I have a bunch of your previous work that might be helpful for this. And this is individual, but you can talk to other people. So like if you work with a group and you can't find your soil water holding capacity calculations, talk to your the people that were in your group to see if you can track that information down. And this is due at the end of the period. As always, if you use your time really well, then if you're not done, I will grade it and then give you an opportunity to add information and get more points. But in order to earn that opportunity, you've got to use your class time well. All right, let's see. Ms. Jackson, is there anything you could think of that I left out?
No, but when you guys turn in assignments, you guys can't just write your first name, because you guys aren't Beyonce or Kanye, so make sure you put your full name. Because if you give something in the real world of like Mason, who's Mason? I don't know Mason.
6'7".
So make sure you're putting your first and last name, because it's good life skill.
I use first, last name, signature.
Okay, anybody have other questions? Okay, so this is due today. It's a short period. I think we're done at 10:55. So 10:50. So you have about half an hour, which is plenty of time. I'll hand out stuff. Let's get to work.